He was always the one who remembered our anniversary. Not performatively, not in the way that people make a show of remembering, but reliably, quietly, in the way of someone who simply keeps track of things that matter. In the 4 years we'd been together, he had never missed it. Flowers, or dinner, or once a trip he'd planned without telling me until the morning of. I trusted the date the way I trusted other fixed things in our shared life. This year, he forgot. The date came and went without mention. I noticed. I said nothing. I waited a day, then 2. I want to be honest about what those 2 days were like. I was not certain of anything. I had a gap, a missing anniversary that could mean many things or nothing, and I had a background awareness that the past several weeks had felt slightly different from the years before them, in ways I had been attributing to work, to the natural evolution of a long relationship, to the invisible recalibrations that 2 people make over time. The forgotten date sharpened that background awareness. It gave it a focus. But I was not ready to say I knew anything yet. I have learned something about myself in these situations. I need evidence before I speak. Not because I doubt my instincts have rarely been wrong, but because I have also been wrong, and the experience of wrongly accusing someone you love, of discovering that what looked like a pattern was in fact a coincidence, is one I wanted to avoid. So I waited. I observed. I gave the absent anniversary its 2 days and then began to pay closer attention to everything around it. He was distracted during those days, answering messages more than usual, stepping outside for calls more than usual, coming home with the slightly compressed quality of someone carrying something heavy that they're not ready to put down. On the 3rd day, I asked him how he was. He said fine. Work was complicated. Nothing he couldn't handle. I said okay, and I meant it, and I went to make dinner. And while I was making dinner I thought about the anniversary he hadn't mentioned, and the messages, and the calls, and the compressed quality, and I started paying attention. I want to say something about anniversaries and what forgetting one means, or might mean. I don't think a missed date is automatically evidence of anything. People forget things. People go through difficult periods where the ordinary markers of a shared life slip. I wasn't certain that the forgotten anniversary was connected to anything else. I simply noticed that it was the first thing he'd ever forgotten in 4 years, and that the forgetting had coincided with a set of other changes I'd been logging without naming. 4 years of not forgetting is a long record. It means something specific, not just that you remember the date, but that you hold the relationship in a place of active attention, that you haven't let it slip into the background of your life where it runs on automatic without requiring your engagement. When someone who has held that level of attention for 4 years stops holding it, the absence is notable. It doesn't mean betrayal. It might mean stress or grief or the particular absorption of a difficult period at work. But it means something. And in the context of the phone and the calls and the compressed quality of his evenings, it meant something specific. So I paid attention. Over the following 2 weeks, I tracked what I could observe without crossing lines I'd decided not to cross. I didn't go through his phone. I didn't check his email. I didn't follow him or ask his friends anything. I watched the patterns of our shared life and I noted what had changed. He was on his phone more in the evenings. Not dramatically, not in the obvious way, not hiding it under the table or turning it face down every time I entered the room. Just more. A background hum of attention directed somewhere other than where we were. He was less talkative about his day. For 4 years he'd come home and told me about his work, his colleagues, the small events and frustrations of 8 hours away from me. Not exhaustively, not as a performance, it had just been the natural rhythm of our evenings. It had stopped, or nearly stopped. He'd answer questions directly but had stopped volunteering. He mentioned, once, a colleague I hadn't heard of before. A woman, at a different firm, he'd met at an industry event last autumn. He mentioned her in the context of a professional contact, someone whose work he admired. The way he mentioned her was ordinary. I noted the name and didn't ask about it. In the 3rd week, he told me he needed to go into the office on a Saturday, not unheard of, but unusual. He was gone from 9 until 4. When he came back he was quieter than the distracted quiet of those weeks, a different kind of quiet, the kind that comes after a decision has been made. That evening I asked him directly. I'd been building toward it for 3 weeks, and I understood by then that the directness was the right approach. Not an accusation, not a confrontation with evidence. Just a question, quietly, across the kitchen table, was there something he needed to tell me? He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said yes. What came out over the next hour was this: the woman he'd mentioned, the colleague from another firm. Since October, 6 months. He'd been trying to figure out what he wanted. The Saturday at the office had been part of that figuring out. He'd seen her, they'd talked, he'd told her he needed to make a decision about what he was doing. He hadn't made it yet. He was telling me now because I'd asked, and because he understood from the way I'd asked that I already knew something, even if he didn't know exactly what. I told him what I'd noticed. The anniversary. The phone in the evenings. The calls he'd taken outside. The name he'd mentioned once with a carefulness that had registered without me acting on it at the time. He listened to all of it without interruption. I think it helped him, in some way, to know that I had been watching, that the decision he'd been deferring had been visible, in outline, to the person closest to him, even without her saying anything. That he had not, in fact, been managing it as cleanly as he'd thought. He asked me what I wanted to happen. I told him I wanted him to tell me honestly what he wanted, not what he thought I needed to hear, not what felt kinder in the short term. What he actually wanted. He took a long time. When he answered, the answer was that he wasn't certain. I told him that uncertainty, in this context, was itself an answer. I told him what I'd noticed. The anniversary he'd forgotten. The phone, the calls, the colleague whose name he'd mentioned once with a specific carefulness. The compressed quality of the past 3 weeks. He listened without interrupting. He asked me what I wanted to happen. I told him I wanted him to be honest about what he wanted. Not what he thought I needed to hear, not what he thought was the kinder option. What he actually wanted. He took a long time to answer. When he did, the answer was not simple. He said he wasn't certain. He said that uncertainty felt like a kind of answer in itself. I agreed that it did. He moved out that weekend. The move was quiet and organized. He'd always been organized, and he took what was his and left what was mine, and the flat rearranged itself around his absence in the way that spaces do, with a different quality of light and a different kind of quiet. We have spoken since, occasionally, with the civil regard of people who spent 4 years building something real and then spent 90 minutes acknowledging that it had been partially unbuilt without their agreement. I've thought about what it means to be told by someone that they haven't been certain for months. About the 6 months he spent figuring out what he wanted while I was making dinner and coming home and trusting the ordinary shape of our shared life. There is something in that, not cruelty, necessarily, but a kind of internal management that required my unawareness to function. He needed me not to know while he sorted himself out. The forgotten anniversary was the gap in the management. A small administrative failure that let something through. The anniversary he forgot is a date I still notice when it comes around each year. Not with bitterness. With something closer to clarity. It was the first thing that slipped. And when something slips, in a person who never used to slip that kind of thing, it is worth noticing. If a small forgetting, a date, a detail, a pattern you've never seen interrupted before, ever told you more than it seemed to on the surface, drop it in the comments. Subscribe. New story every week.